Welcome back. Today I'm gonna be going over my gems in the 2024 NFL draft. These guys that I'm a little higher on than consensus. Most of them are gonna be late round guys. Make sure you stick around to the end because I got one of the most fun dudes in this entire draft class. One of the guys I'm so interested in at the end of the video. So make sure you stick around for the whole thing. We're gonna go ahead and get right into our first gem coming from Colorado State. First guy up, we got MoCA or Muhammad Kamara from Colorado State University. He's one of my favorite edge rushers in this entire class. He's a little bit of a smaller dude, came in as pro day at 6'1", 248. So he's a bit of a smaller guy, but like if you want to know this dude's kind of like attitude and how he attacks the game, go watch the Bootleg podcast and interview with him at the Shrine Bowl. And like this dude's talking like he's got that moxie of like he was like talking about like a lot of guys tell me like they're like, you know, this tackle's you gotta beat this tackle, you gotta beat this tackle. He's like, no, I don't care about who that tackle is. Whoever is on the other side, they gotta block me. So he's got that good attitude already. And you know, they always say like tackles. Some of the dudes that tackles struggle against the most are those smaller dudes who just always have the leverage advantage on them. They're always getting under them, and that's MoCA. And this dude knows how to use his hands. He's been top in college football in pressures the last like 2 years. He had great sack numbers at Colorado State last year. This dude knows how to win, knows how to get after the quarterback. He's a film junkie, man. This dude was talking in his interviews like he watches film all the time. He sees these dudes sets and he's switching his feet, making sure his steps are perfect. Like this is a perfectionist at the D line. I'd be surprised if he doesn't succeed in the NFL. He might not be like this elite all pro dude, but he's gonna have a long career in the NFL. Just his attitude and off the field paired with his ability on the field, he's gonna have a good day. He had a pretty good pro day, guys. Numbers up. He's got 4.57 in the 40, 34.5-inch vert. Sorry, this is at the combine. 34.5-inch vert, 10'3" broad. And then as pro day, ran a 4.49 shuttle, 7.34 3 cone, which are all right. But really, those jumping numbers and running numbers show that he's a good athlete too. I mean, he's a dude that I'd be willing to take it in the third round starting. I think he might not even go in the third round, but I think he's a dude that is going to have a great NFL career, and I'd be shocked if he doesn't succeed somewhere. Next up, we got safety Dom Hampton from Washington University. One of my favorite safeties in his entire class. Dude came in at the combine at 6'2", 215, so he's got solid size. But this dude's a really good athlete. Ran a 4.5 40, which wasn't the fastest, but where he exceeds is 4.14 shuttle, pretty good 39-inch vert, solid, and a 6.8 3 cone, good numbers. He's all around a pretty good athlete, and this dude was like a leader and one of those dudes on that Washington defense. That Washington team was good, and that defense came up with some big stops. They weren't like a defense stopping everyone. You know, the Pac-12 people were scoring a lot. But, like, when this defense needed stops, they did. Dom Hampton was a big part of this. He missed some games. The defense just wasn't the same with him. He's one of those guys that can fly around. He kind of do it all as a safety. You know, he's not like a dude that's, like, a smaller nickel guy. He's not a dude that's just, like, top free. He can kind of float around, come in the box, make some tackles if he needs to. He can play in coverage. He can match up against tight ends. Just do it, like, all around. As a late-round guy, I think he's going to be stealing the draft because he's not going to go super high, but I think he has the upside of being like a safety that can do it all, and a safety that a lot of teams are going to love in this draft. Next up, we got Michael Hall Jr., defensive tackle from Ohio State. One of the dudes I was mentioning, if you've watched me for a little while now, you know, my way too early mock draft almost like a year ago, I had Michael Hall as a first round, and I said this dude is explosive. He reminds me of Kalijah Kancey. He's not like the exact same. He's not as explosive as Kalijah Kancey, but he's also a little longer than Kalijah Kancey. But like this dude, Michael Hall, is one of those dudes where his first step and his ability to get off the ball, get past the dude, and make a TFL and make these high impact plays is like one of the best in this entire class. Like his explosiveness from the D tackle position is up there with like Byron Murphy and Jerzon Newton, like in those first round kind of dudes, because he is explosive. He struggles a little bit in the run game. He's a little bit of a smaller dude. If I go ahead and pull up his pro day numbers here, he went at his pro day, he was 6'2", 290. He didn't actually test. I don't have any testing data on him, but so he's got solid size, but like I said, he's a smaller guy compared to like some of the other guys. But this, you just go turn on his film and you're gonna like be like, this is kind of like Kalijah Kancey. Like I said, less explosive, but like he's really good with his hands and getting off the ball. And I think he's gonna be a really interesting dude that like, I don't know, a lot of people don't talk about him as maybe like a third, fourth rounder. I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Hall goes in the second round. I think NFL teams are going to like that explosiveness. His ability, at worst, I think Michael Hall's a designated pass rusher on third down, come in the games, play 3 technique, and get after the quarterback. I think that's at worst what he is. I think he can have that. I think he's like explosive enough on early downs to make plays. Like you think like Milton Williams for the Philadelphia Eagles isn't like a big run blocking dude, but Milton Williams has that explosiveness that he can still play early downs because he can shed a block and make a TFL, and that's a huge play. I think Michael Hall has that ability to kind of start as a rotational player and grow a bigger role as he gets better and better in the run game later down on his career. Next up, we got a dude I've talked about a couple times on this channel, but we got Mark Perry, safety from TCU. Another one of my guys in this draft class. Crazy athlete. I've talked about his high school track background before. Go check out my Shrine Bowl video that I did. He was one of the guys at the Shrine Bowl. And his track background, he's an electric athlete. And just give you some more of how good of an athlete he is. He participated at that Big 12 Pro Day. These are his numbers from his Pro Day. He came in at 6'2", 213. Ran a 4.4 40, 7.14 3-cone, 4.4 shuttle, 37-inch vert with a 10'11" broad. I mean, this dude fast and explosive. He's got the size at 6'2", 213. You know, he's not some slim dude. Goes out there. He was a huge part of this TCU team that made it to the national championship 2 years ago. Mark Perry is one of those dudes, like, they had a lot of talent on that team. Like, Mark Perry is one of those dudes where every single game this dude was making big plays for the team. And he's like a crazy athlete. And like, if you're a team that doesn't want to take a shot on a dude with this guy's athleticism, he's played in all these big games. Like, I don't know what to tell you, but like, if you just look at an athlete that you want to take, because in the later rounds, you're looking for dudes with athletic upside that, you know, tune a few things here and they could be a great player. I mean, that's Mark Perry, because like his athletic upside is up there with, I'd be willing to say any safety in this class. Mark Perry has the athletic upside of anyone in this class. So I think he's a dude where I'd be way willing to take a day 3 shot on a guy like Mark Perry just with that upside. Moving on, we got one of my running back gems in this draft class. We got Tyrone Tracy, running back from Purdue. One of the reasons I love this dude so much is not only is he a crazy athlete, we'll get into the athleticism in just a minute. This dude was a former receiver, went to Iowa as a receiver, ended up transferring out to Purdue to play running back. So he's got the background of a receiver. He's got great hands. He can run the routes, which is something like the best running backs in the NFL nowadays. You got to be able to catch passes like Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, Kamara. These dudes are all great pass catchers. That's part of the reason why they're so good and so valuable. Tyrone Tracy already has that, but not only does he have that receiving background, he's a good runner, like, and he's raw. He doesn't have a lot of attempts, which is something NFL teams love. You know, a dude that's not worn down at this point, doesn't have too many carries, so that's gonna be a positive for him. But he's also a great athlete. Looking at what he did at the NFL Combine, he came into the NFL Combine at 5'11", 209. Pretty good size for a running back. That's like perfect size. You don't want him too tall. You know, you want that low center of gravity. So coming 4.06 shuttle, which is in the 93rd percentile of drafted players, a 4.48 40, 40-inch vert, 91st percentile. He's got 124-inch broad, 77th percentile, and a 6.81 3-cone in the 86th percentile. I mean, like, when we're talking about running backs at the athlete position, he's up there with the top of them in this entire draft class. Like, he is a crazy athlete. He got the receiving upside, a little bit raw running the ball, you know. Obviously, he just started playing running back like 1 or 2 years ago. I think he played a little bit of running back in high school, so he's not like brand new to the running back position. But playing it full-time in a college role is a little bit different. So, you know, he's still a little bit raw in some of the running back, you know, seeing the holes, reading the offense. But like this dude, great jump cut. You see in a lot of his film, his ability to jump into that backside gap and then just hit it like a home run. Like, I think this dude is one of my favorite running backs. Like, you talk about, there's a couple of running backs at the very top of the class, but when we're talking about, like, you know, I guess there's no real day one running backs, but when we're talking about that, like, second tier running backs, you kind of got your top tier. We're talking about the second tier. He's kind of down at the bottom of the second tier. I'd be surprised if he wasn't closer to that first tier of running backs, because he's an elite dude that I'm so excited to see, because I think he has potential to be like at worst case scenario, an incredible third down back in the NFL. I think he could really be one of those running backs that not only just third down back, but a guy who gets first and second down carries too. Even though that's not a big thing in the NFL, I think he could do it. Moving on to the wide receiver position, I got one of my sleepers or gems in this draft class as Luke McCaffrey, wide receiver from Rice. Yes, he's Christian McCaffrey's brother. Part of the reason I like him, one of the things I like about him, kind of how I was mentioning, like, receiver for Tyrone Tracy, former quarterback at Michigan, actually, but he was a former quarterback. I love former quarterback receivers, you see, like Julian Edelman, just because they understand coverages and defenses so much more playing that quarterback position, and they're going to have an understanding of what the quarterback is looking at, not just what they're looking at, which is a huge thing when it comes to timing. So, like, he's a dude, like, if you pair him, you want to pair him with a really smart quarterback so they can kind of be on the same page, but this dude catches everything. Luke McCaffrey will catch any ball within like a radius of him. He's got great hands. He had a really good week at the Senior Bowl. And one of the things is, like, I was like, okay, you know, he's got good size. I believe at the combine 6'1", 198. So, you know, solid size, not like crazy huge, but solid size. He catches everything. He like a very smart player, knows how to win against certain defenses and what they're running. But then I was like, but one of the reasons I wasn't as high on him, I didn't think he was a great athlete. But I mean, when you look at his combine numbers, he ran a 4.02 shuttle, 93 percentile for drafted receivers, 4.46 40. That's plenty good enough for a receiver. 36-inch vert, 121-inch broad, then a 6.7 3-cone. The one thing that stood out with a 4.02 shuttle and the 6.7 3-cone and the 93rd and 86th percentile of drafted receivers, respectively. Like, those shuttles are what is going to be big for him, because he's not going to be this straight line burner, even though he's got 4.4 speed, so he's plenty fast enough. But like his ability to quickly get in and out of breaks, on a slant route, quickly change direction, hitch route, quickly flip your hips and come back to the quarterback. Like those kind of short agility is what I didn't know if he necessarily had to be an elite separator at the NFL level. But I mean, he has that agility. I don't know if he'll ever be an elite separator, but he's a dude that kind of reminds me of like, this is no way in like play style, but like a Puka Nacua kind of guy where like he's going to go later because he's not like this crazy athlete and he, doesn't have these crazy measurables, but like a dude that he's just a solid receiver. And I think he's one of those guys that we're going to be talking about like week 8 in the NFL season. Be like, damn, Luke McCaffrey was like a 4th round pick and he's out here balling like this. Like, why wasn't he drafted higher? And I think Luke McCaffrey's my pick. If there's a guy this year, a late round guy that has an incredible rookie season and we're all questioning, kind of like, he's not going to have a Puka Nacua season. That's not going to happen probably. Rookie breaking record. But a guy that like, we're like, the guy that gets drafted on day 2 or even maybe day 3, and we're like, wow, this dude should have been drafted higher. My pick is Luke McCaffrey for that. Next up, we got one more guy after this. Make sure you stay tuned because he's one of my favorite dudes in his entire draft class. But for now, we got Elijah Jones, cornerback from Boston College, coming in at about 6'2", 185. So he's got good size for a corner. You go watch the film. He looks a little slim on film, but I mean, he's 185, which is slim, but it's not as like, we're not talking like Emmanuel Forbes kind of Nate Wiggins slim, but guy that I think he had an up and down season at Boston College. You see him get beat sometimes, but he also has a lot of good plays. I think he played in press. I think he was better off the ball and kind of his reaction skills. But like why I love this is one, he's like when you're looking at late round corners, what are you looking for? You look for like size and athleticism that you can build into something. Like Tariq Woolen was just the complete one side of that, just size, speed, height, weight, speed, and see if you can build something out of him. Elijah Jones, I mean, when we're talking about like speed, I mean, like 4.44 speed, good. 42.5-inch vert at the combine, 99 percentile, 131-inch broad, 86 percentile. I mean, like, this dude is explosive and fast. He's got the height, weight, speed that you want from a corner. There's some things you got to develop, but, like, this dude, I think he gets slow with his feet sometimes, but, like, you can speed up those feet a little, and this dude has the explosiveness to be a really good outside corner, which is something you don't find in the late rounds a lot. So if you can find a dude with his height, weight, and speed that could potentially play outside corner, I don't see why you wouldn't take a risk on this dude on day 3. And a guy that with the upside of him, he's one of my favorite late round corners. Just take a shot on and hope you can develop him into something because he has all the traits and size to be a good corner. We'll see if he can just put it together in the NFL. Told you guys I had a fun one for my last one. Here we are. I just noticed, I don't know, my graphic is misspelled. It's Rostona. It should be an E, not an A, but whatever. Rostona, tight end, I think, from Arkansas. Yeah, I told you he's a fun one. This dude has never played football in his life before. He comes from Jamaica. He's an incredible thrower. When I talk about discus and shot put, he was a 2023 NCAA outdoor silver medalist in the discus. Competed in the World Athletics Championships in 2023. He was a Jamaica Championship silver in shot put and discus. Outdoor gold medalist in the SEC in discus and a bronze in the shot put at the SEC. I mean, this dude is one of the best throwers in the nation, and you're wondering like, okay, cool, he's a great thrower, but this is football, this is NFL. He went and competed at Arkansas's Pro Day to hopefully make a transition to the NFL as a tight end, and this dude is 6'6", 253 pounds. He is a ginormous man, and he's pretty athletic. These are his Pro Day numbers. Keep in mind, this dude's 6'6", 250. Like, 250 is a big man. He had a 4.76 40, solid 33-inch vert, 10'4" broad. Like, this dude got some explosiveness in him. And we've seen track athletes kind of translate to the NFL with that explosiveness, especially throwers with those hips being able to be explosive. I think we have him as, like, tight end DN. I think he's trying to be a tight end, but, like, just a dude that, like, bro, he could be fun as a dude, like a tight end at that size, 6'6", 250. Just a fun prospect to keep your eyes on. He probably won't get drafted, but like, I don't know, if there's an undrafted dude that I want to just see what he can do and have fun with, as a guy who, from Jamaica, hasn't played football, been a track athlete his whole life, make the transition. I'm just interested to see what Rohe can do, because guy that just, hey, why not take a shot, see what he can do? Fun, just interesting story in this draft class. Go look him up if you want to see more, because it's just one of my favorite storylines in the entire class. Anyways, that is all my gems for the 2024 NFL draft class. We're just under 2 weeks away from the NFL draft. Getting excited. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, do all that stuff if you enjoyed the video. Let me know any other gems you guys got down in the comments. I've been, trying to get more. I didn't want to do too many guys like everyone's talking about. There's a lot of guys I like later on that, like, everyone's on. So I'm trying to get some more guys, put out some more names out there. Anyways, I'll see you for the next video. Thank you for watching.